Hello, esteemed gentlemen. The man who cannot be predicted is the man who cannot be controlled. Think about that for a second. History has shown that the hardest people to defeat were rarely the loudest, the strongest, or the most celebrated. They were the ones nobody could figure out. Military strategists have long understood that unpredictability can be more powerful than brute force. When your opponent can't predict your next move, every decision they make becomes a gamble. Now imagine someone who lives like that every single day. While alpha men often command attention with confidence and dominance, there is another kind of man who plays by rules so unusual that even confident leaders hesitate to copy them. His greatest weapon isn't his strength. It's the fact that nobody can quite understand what he's going to do next. The funny part? If you asked him whether he's trying to be mysterious, he'd probably shrug, say, "Not really," and then disappear before the conversation was even over. In today's video, we're uncovering 20 terrifying things Sigma males do that no alpha man dares to. These aren't the recycled stereotypes you've heard 100 times. We're diving into psychological habits, calculated behaviors, and unsettling decisions that make people stop, stare, and quietly wonder, why would anyone do that? Some of these traits may challenge what you thought you knew about confidence, power, and influence. Others might make you rethink the difference between someone who wants control and someone who simply doesn't need it. So stay with me until the very end, because the final point may completely change the way you see the Sigma mindset forever. Number 1, he intentionally becomes impossible to read. Most people don't realize how much of their lives run on predictable patterns. They react the same way to praise, criticism, disappointment, and success. After spending enough time with them, you can almost predict their next move without thinking. A Sigma male understands this, and that's exactly why he refuses to become easy to read. He doesn't change who he is to confuse people. He simply refuses to let anyone place him inside a neat little box. One day he may speak up immediately, and another day he may stay completely silent. Sometimes he responds with humor, other times with a simple nod. His reactions are based on the situation, not on other people's expectations. This makes manipulative people uncomfortable because they survive by studying habits. They look for routines, emotional triggers, and predictable responses they can use to gain an advantage. But when those patterns don't exist, their confidence starts to fall apart. Every move becomes a guess instead of a strategy. People often mistake this for being mysterious, but it isn't about creating an image. It's about protecting freedom. The moment people think they have you figured out, they begin making decisions for you before you've even spoken. A Sigma male quietly takes that power away. He leaves others questioning their assumptions instead of confidently reading his next move, and that uncertainty becomes one of his greatest strengths. Number 2, he lets people build the wrong story about him. One of the most unsettling things about a Sigma male is that he doesn't feel the need to defend his reputation every time someone gets him wrong. While most people rush to explain themselves, clear up misunderstandings, or prove who they really are, he often does the exact opposite. He stays quiet and watches. That silence isn't weakness, it's observation. He knows that the moment people think they have him figured out, they stop being careful. They become comfortable. They speak more freely, make bigger assumptions, and reveal parts of themselves they normally keep hidden. In trying to define him, they end up exposing their own fears, biases, and intentions. The Sigma male understands that not every false opinion deserves a correction. If someone chooses to judge him based on gossip, appearances, or a brief encounter, he lets them keep that version of him. After all, people who judge too quickly often save him the trouble of finding out who they really are. What makes this approach so powerful is that it filters people without effort. Those who value truth will eventually ask questions before reaching conclusions. Those who don't were never worth convincing in the first place. While others spend endless energy managing their image, the Sigma male quietly gathers something far more valuable: clarity about the people around him. In the end, the wrong story people tell about him often reveals the right story about themselves. Number 3. He makes himself forgettable on purpose. In a world where everyone is fighting to be noticed, the Sigma male does something that feels completely backward. He doesn't chase attention, and he certainly doesn't build his identity around being the loudest person in the room. In fact, there are times when he deliberately blends into the background, allowing others to overlook him without resistance. Most people mistake this for a lack of confidence. They're wrong. He understands that attention is expensive. The more people notice you, the more they judge you, compete with you, envy you, and expect things from you. By staying out of the spotlight, he avoids unnecessary drama and gains something far more valuable: the freedom to observe without becoming the center of attention. While everyone else is busy trying to impress, he quietly studies the room. He notices shifting attitudes, hidden rivalries, forced smiles, and conversations that would never happen if all eyes were on him. People often reveal their true character when they believe someone is too ordinary to matter. Then comes the surprise. When a situation demands real ability, the quiet man everyone overlooked suddenly delivers the solution, makes the right decision, or outperforms everyone who spent their energy trying to be seen. The room changes instantly. People struggle to understand how someone they barely noticed could have such an impact. The Sigma male was never trying to be invisible. He simply knows that influence lasts longer than attention, and results speak far louder than recognition ever will. Number 4. He quietly removes his value before leaving. Most people announce they're done. They argue, make emotional speeches, slam doors, or make sure everyone knows they've reached their limit. A Sigma male rarely does any of that. Long before he walks away, he begins withdrawing the things that made him valuable in the first place. He stops solving problems that aren't his to fix. He no longer offers advice that nobody appreciates. He quits carrying conversations, making excuses for others, or holding relationships together by himself. From the outside, nothing dramatic seems to be happening, but underneath, everything is changing. The frightening part is that people usually don't notice until it's too late. They were so used to relying on his calm thinking, steady support, and quiet dependability that they assumed it would always be there. They only realize what they've lost when the balance disappears. Suddenly, the workplace feels disorganized, the friendship feels empty, or the relationship begins to struggle. That's when they start asking what happened. By then, the Sigma male has already made peace with leaving. He doesn't withdraw to punish anyone or play mind games. He withdraws because he has recognized a hard truth. Value that is constantly taken for granted eventually becomes invisible. Rather than begging to be appreciated, he simply stops giving what isn't respected. His departure isn't marked by noise or conflict. It's marked by a silence that exposes just how much he had been carrying all along. Number 5. He tests reality instead of people's words. A Sigma male has learned that words are cheap. Anyone can make promises, swear loyalty, or say exactly what you want to hear when it benefits them. That's why he doesn't base important decisions on impressive speeches or emotional conversations. Instead, he quietly watches what people do when nobody is reminding them to do the right thing. He pays attention to actions, not performances. Sometimes the test is so small that no one realizes it's happening. He may stop sending the first message just to see who reaches out. He might step back from helping for a while to find out who only appears when they need something. He changes one small detail and patiently watches the outcome. Those tiny changes often reveal more than hours of talking ever could. This approach makes him difficult to deceive because he isn't looking for perfect people. He's looking for consistent behavior. He knows that truth doesn't usually arrive in one dramatic moment. It shows up through repeated actions over time. That is why he rarely feels shocked when someone's true character finally comes to light. While others are saying, "I never saw this coming," the Sigma male has been collecting small pieces of evidence all along. He doesn't need confessions or dramatic betrayals to know where he stands with someone. Reality has already answered the question for him, and reality is a witness that never changes its story. Number 6. He lets silence become psychological pressure. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. The moment a conversation slows down, they rush to fill the empty space with explanations, jokes, opinions, or nervous chatter. A Sigma male understands something most people overlook. Silence has a way of revealing what words often hide. He doesn't use silence to intimidate people. He uses it to listen. When someone finishes speaking, he doesn't feel the need to respond immediately. He lets the moment breathe. That brief pause often catches people off guard. Suddenly they begin talking again. They explain more than they intended, contradict themselves, or reveal feelings they were trying to keep hidden. The silence gently pulls the truth to the surface, without a single question being asked. This is why he rarely interrupts or argues just to make a point. He knows that the person who talks the most usually gives away the most. Meanwhile, the person who listens carefully walks away with a clearer understanding of the situation. What makes this habit so powerful is that it also protects him. Silence keeps him from making emotional decisions, saying something he'll regret, or reacting too quickly to provocation. While others are busy defending themselves, he's collecting information. While others are trying to win the conversation, he's trying to understand it. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, the Sigma male discovers that silence isn't empty at all. It's often the place where people unknowingly reveal who they really are, and that knowledge is far more valuable than having the last word. Number 7. He purposely wins too little. Most people believe they have to win every argument, every competition, and every opportunity that comes their way. To them, losing even once feels like weakness. A Sigma male sees things differently. He understands that constantly proving you're the best comes with a hidden cost. It paints a target on your back. That's why he doesn't feel the need to dominate every situation. There are moments when he intentionally steps aside, lets someone else take the credit, or allows another person to enjoy a small victory. Not because he lacks ability, but because he knows that endless competition drains time, energy, and peace of mind. He isn't interested in collecting trophies that don't improve his life. This often confuses people. They mistake his restraint for a lack of ambition, never realizing he's choosing his battles with incredible precision. He knows that some victories create more enemies than opportunities, while others are simply too small to matter. Then, when a truly important moment arrives, everything changes. The same man who seemed content staying in the background suddenly delivers when it counts most. His preparation, patience, and focus become impossible to ignore. The terrifying part is that his confidence doesn't depend on constant recognition. He doesn't need to prove his worth every day because he already knows it. While others chase every chance to look successful, the Sigma male waits for the few moments that actually shape his future, and those are the moments he refuses to lose. Number 8, he doesn't seek loyalty, he measures consistency. Most people are easily impressed by big promises. They hear someone say, "I've always got your back," and immediately believe they've found a loyal friend. A Sigma male isn't convinced so easily. He knows that loyalty spoken out loud is often the easiest thing in the world to fake. What truly matters is consistency. He watches the small things that most people ignore. Does someone treat you with the same respect when nobody is watching? Do they keep their word even when it costs them something? Are they dependable on ordinary days, not just during exciting moments? These quiet patterns tell him far more than emotional speeches ever could. The Sigma male understands that character isn't revealed in grand gestures. It's built through repeated choices made over weeks, months, and even years. Anyone can act supportive when life is going well. The real test comes when there's nothing to gain, when circumstances become inconvenient, or when staying true requires sacrifice. This mindset saves him from many disappointments. Instead of becoming attached to what people say, he pays attention to what they repeatedly do. He doesn't rush to call someone trustworthy because trust, in his eyes, is earned one action at a time. That's what makes him so difficult to fool. He isn't looking for perfection or flawless behavior. He's looking for reliability, because in the end, a person who consistently shows up is worth far more than someone who occasionally makes impressive promises. To a Sigma male, consistency is the quiet proof that words were genuine all along. Number 9. He becomes harder to manipulate by admitting his own weaknesses first. One of the biggest advantages a Sigma male has is that he doesn't spend his life pretending to be perfect. He knows everyone has weaknesses, blind spots, and mistakes they'd rather forget. Instead of hiding them behind a carefully built image, he accepts them. That simple habit makes him surprisingly difficult to manipulate. People who try to control others often look for insecurity. They search for the fear someone is desperately trying to hide because that's where pressure works best. But when a Sigma male is already honest with himself about his flaws, there is very little for anyone else to use against him. You can't shame a man who has already faced the truth about himself. This doesn't mean he tells everyone his private business. It means he isn't afraid of reality. If he makes a mistake, he owns it. If he doesn't know something, he'll admit it. If he needs to improve, he gets to work instead of making excuses. That level of self-awareness takes away the power of criticism because he has already judged himself more honestly than anyone else ever could. Ironically, this makes him appear stronger, not weaker. While others waste energy protecting a perfect image that doesn't exist, he invests that energy in becoming better. His confidence isn't built on pretending to have no flaws. It's built on knowing his flaws don't control him anymore, and that quiet confidence is incredibly difficult to shake. Number 10. He never gives his full intelligence away. A Sigma male understands that intelligence isn't something that has to be displayed every chance he gets. While some people feel the need to prove how much they know in every conversation, he is comfortable holding back. He speaks when his words add value, not when his ego wants attention. That choice often causes people to underestimate him. They assume his quiet nature means he has little to offer. They mistake patience for hesitation and simplicity for a lack of depth. The Sigma male rarely corrects those assumptions because he knows that being underestimated can be an advantage. When people stop expecting much from you, they also stop preparing for what you're capable of. He also understands that knowledge is most powerful when it's used with purpose. There is no reward for revealing every plan, every idea, or every skill before the right moment. Some opportunities are lost simply because people talk too much. The Sigma male would rather let his actions introduce his abilities than announce them in advance. What truly sets him apart is that he doesn't confuse intelligence with the need to impress. He isn't interested in winning debates just to appear clever or using complicated words to sound important. His goal is effectiveness, not applause. When the moment finally arrives to solve a problem or make a difficult decision, people often find themselves asking the same question: Where did that come from? The answer is simple. His intelligence was always there. He just never felt the need to put it on display before it actually mattered. Number 11. He doesn't chase opportunities. He creates vacuums. Most people spend their lives chasing opportunities. They compete for attention, fight for promotions, and scramble to be noticed before someone else gets there first. A Sigma male often takes a completely different approach. Instead of running after every open door, he creates situations where people begin looking for him. He understands that being constantly available can make people take you for granted. So rather than saying yes to everything, he becomes selective with his time, energy, and abilities. He doesn't disappear to play games. He simply stops filling every gap for everyone else. That's when something interesting happens. The person who always relied on his advice suddenly has no one to ask. The team that depended on his quiet problem-solving begins to struggle. The friends who assumed he would always be there realize how much stability he brought without asking for recognition. His absence creates a space that no one expected to exist. This isn't about making people miss him. It's about understanding value. When something is always available, people often overlook it. But when it's no longer there, its importance becomes impossible to ignore. The Sigma male doesn't force others to appreciate him with words. He lets reality do the talking. By refusing to chase every opportunity or every person's approval, he creates room for people to recognize what he brings on their own. Sometimes the strongest statement a man can make isn't by stepping forward. It's by stepping back and letting everyone discover what life feels like without him. Number 12. He makes himself replaceable before becoming irreplaceable. Most people hold tightly to what makes them valuable. They keep important knowledge to themselves, guard their skills, and make sure others depend on them. They believe that being needed is the safest way to stay important. A Sigma male sees a hidden weakness in that approach. He knows that if your value exists only because people can't function without you, then your influence is built on dependency, not respect. That's why he willingly shares what he knows, teaches others, and helps people become more capable. He isn't threatened by someone else's growth because he understands that real confidence doesn't shrink when others improve. In fact, it grows stronger. At first, this seems like a strange decision. People wonder why he would give away what makes him useful. What they fail to notice is that skills can be copied, but character cannot. Knowledge can be taught, but wisdom, judgment, and steady leadership are earned over time. As people become more capable, they begin to notice something unexpected. They can perform the task, but they still can't replace the person. They miss his calm thinking during pressure, his ability to make difficult decisions, and the quiet trust he built through consistent actions. That is the difference the Sigma male understands. He never tries to become indispensable by making others weaker. He becomes unforgettable by making others stronger. In the end, people don't value him because they had to depend on him. They value him because they experienced the rare kind of leadership that leaves everyone better than it found them. Not every quiet man is a Sigma, and not every confident man is an Alpha. Labels come and go, but certain behaviors always stand out. Throughout this video, you've seen that what makes the Sigma mindset so fascinating isn't loud confidence or a constant need to prove a point. It's the ability to think differently, stay emotionally disciplined, observe more than react, and make decisions that most people would never even consider. The truth is, many of these habits can seem unsettling because they challenge the way most people operate. They remind us that real strength isn't always visible, influence doesn't always announce itself, and the smartest move is often the one nobody expects. Whether you agree with every point or not, there's value in understanding why some people choose a path that doesn't follow the crowd. The biggest lesson is simple. Your greatest advantage isn't becoming someone others fear. It's becoming someone who cannot be easily manipulated, distracted, or pulled away from what truly matters. That's a level of control that no title, status, or reputation can replace. If you enjoyed this video and found these insights thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive. If one of these points stood out to you the most, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.